In this video, we're going to go over key metrics every bookseller should be tracking on a weekly basis if you want to grow and scale and really measure the health of your book business. Now, in this video, we're going to be using GoToLister to look at these analytics. You don't have to use GoToLister. The important thing is that you just track these metrics, because without tracking these metrics, you can think you're doing good, your sales can be going up, and maybe you feel like you're scaling your business, but in reality, you could be digging yourself in a hole. So the first thing you want to track on a weekly basis, I like to look at a 30-day period. For the last 30 days, how am I doing in these core areas? And I think everyone should be tracking what their profit is. And even if you're not selling books, you're doing other things on Amazon, like your profit is really, that's why we're in the business. We're here so we can pull money out and make our bank accounts go up. If that's not happening, like, what are we doing at the end of the day? So as you can see here, I've done 100,000 in sales, 30,000 true profit. Now, this is mainly wholesale product, but the same exact principle goes for a book business, where you want to look at, not only, I'll show you real quick, this the breakdown of this. If you click on the profit tab on GoToLister, it's going to take you, and it's going to show you the breakdown of the profit. So we've done 102,000 in sales. We paid $48,000 for the inventory. That's how much we invested in the inventory. Total fees come out to $23,000, leaving us with a $30,000 profit. So that's after all Amazon fees, after what we paid for the product, we're left with 30 grand. Now, that's a good indicator of, does your business have healthy margin? Okay, we did 6,700 in sales this day, but how much did we really make? We made 2,200 at the end of the day. So really what you want to do is you want to keep your margin as high as possible. And I'll talk about how to do that later. There's another metric we're going to check to ensure that your margin is good. I like to look at a 30-day period and see how much profit did I make over the last 30 days. I could care less about sales. I don't really care about sales. I care about how much profit am I making after Amazon fees and after what I pay for the product. And if you use GoToLister to list your products, I'm not doing this just to plug my app. You can use any listing software out there. But when you list your products, you should 100% be tracking the buy cost. If you put the buy cost in, then it's going to allow you to know what the true profit is. So that's number one, is profit. Number two is items listed. This is incredibly important for a book business. You should be tracking how many items you listed. So you can see I've listed 3,100 items over the last 30 days. And the more items you list, assuming that they're good products, the more money you're going to make in your Amazon business. So I think that this is like the number one metric for booksellers to track, is how many items are they listing? Because the more items you list, the more you're going to make. As simple as that. The next thing you want to track, and these next two are really going to go hand in hand, ensuring that your business does have that margin that we talked about earlier. And that is, there's two. Number one is what's your average sales price? So you can see my average sales price is 61. Again, I'm selling wholesale product here. That's why my average sales price is so high. For a used book business, you generally want about $20 average sales price or above. That's going to allow you to sell, because when you sell a $20 book, you're left with, let's say, at least $10, $10 at the end of the day. Probably 11, depends on the fees. But my point is, you're left with like a 50% Amazon payout, where if you have an average sales price of $10, you're only left with like $1 or nothing from Amazon, because you sell a $10 book, there might be $9 in fees. You paid $1 for the book, you're left with nothing. So you want to keep your average sales price high in order to keep your margin high. And the next thing you want to track is what your turn rate is. So look at items sold. So we've sold 1,600. And then all you're going to do is look at your total inventory value, which you can find on your Amazon seller app. Look at, not total inventory value, look at your total number of units in inventory. So let's say you have 3,000 units in inventory. You would just take 1,600 divided by 3,000 to get your 30-day turn rate, which would be a little bit over 50%. So we're just going to take 1,684 divided by 3,000, 56% turn rate. So that means Every 30 days, we're selling 56% of our inventory. Now, with the used book business, you should be selling about 20% of your inventory every 30 days. If you do that, that means that you're sourcing good books. They're not too slow selling books. They're books that are, selling pretty quickly. But if it goes below 20%, you're probably sourcing too many high-ranked books. That's what you're doing. You're sourcing too many high-ranked books in that case. So you want to stay away from a low turn rate, or you're just not repricing your inventory fast enough. So if your turn rate's really low, maybe you are sourcing good books, but you're pricing your items a bit too high, and you need to set up a repricer in order to ensure that your inventory is going to sell through. So those are the next two metrics. The last metric you should be tracking, in my opinion, and this is brand new in GoToLister. This is super, super cool. It's the inventory valuation. So if you click on the inventory tab, you'll be able to see what your total inventory valuation is. So I have $24,000 worth of inventory at Amazon. Now, you should expect to sell 80% of this inventory, maybe 75% of this inventory as a used bookseller. 20 to 25% of your inventory is just not going to sell as a bookseller. So when you look at this total sales value, just assume you're only going to realize 75% of it. And the other cool thing about these stats and GoToListers, they break down where the inventory is. So it tells you, is it at Amazon FBA? We have $22,000 at Amazon. We have $94,000 inbound to Amazon. So this is a huge metric. We now know we've done our big purchase. We've shipped the inventory to Amazon. We can expect our sales to really increase over the next few days or next few weeks. You can also see unfulfillable inventory. This factors in inventory that's either unfulfillable, which means Amazon says it's not sellable, or returns. So maybe you sold a bunch of textbooks during textbook season, but it's September, and a bunch of those textbooks have been returned. So you can see all your returns here. They will go active again if they're returns. They won't go active again if they're unfulfillable, so you will need to remove the unfulfillable inventory, but that is a cool metric as well. Then you click on this arrow over here, and it's going to take you to what you paid for the inventory. So this is incredibly important for people doing online arbitrage or wholesale. It's less important for booksellers, but this tells you how much of your money is tied up in inventory. You can see total inbound inventory. I have $43,000 worth of my money tied up in the inventory. So I know, like, when I look at my bank account, I'm like, where the heck's the money? It's tied up in this inventory, and I can see exactly where it is. $43,000 at on the way to Amazon. $4,000 is at Amazon. And it really just breaks down, where my capital is. And if you scroll over one more, you can see what your profit is. So you can see we have $29,000 on the way to Amazon. So again, as a bookseller, you should expect 75% of that to sell. So on the 29,000, we could expect what, 22, 23,000 to sell at the end of the day. So those are the key metrics I recommend you track on a weekly basis as a used bookseller. If you guys got value from this video, smash that like button, and also consider joining my Feed the Beast challenge, where we help you feed the beast, Amazon FBA. We help you find more profitable inventory and really grow your business and help you scale your book business. And you'll get access to my complete step-by-step course. Used to charge $400 for this, but it's free for everyone that joins the Feed the Beast challenge. The link is below. We also do weekly coaching calls. I try to do it every week. I travel a lot, but I'll email you guys if we don't do it. But every week we try to meet on live call, and you guys can show up. We'll meet face to face. You guys can ask me questions and really network with the community. A huge part of building your Amazon business is networking with other Amazon sellers and, sharing tips and tricks and really seeing that this is possible, because you guys see me on YouTube. But if you guys see somebody just like you, let's say you're a nurse and you see another nurse that's doing $5,000 a month selling used books on Amazon, then it really kind of hits a little bit different. Or maybe you're a young man, 19 years old, and you see some other kid doing $30K a month in Amazon sales. You're like, oh shit, I can do this too. So if you guys want to build your book business, challenge yourself, go through this 30-day challenge to send more profitable inventory to Amazon FBA, then click the link below. and sign up for the Feed the Beast Challenge. Much love. See you next video.